Hello, I'm Paul Robinson, the Artistic Director at the Stephen Joseph Theatre in Scarborough. I hope you're keeping well. Like every other theatre in the country, we were deeply disappointed to have to cancel our summer programme this year. But here at the SJT, we like to look for a silver lining. And if you'll forgive the mixed metaphor, our Director Emeritus, Alan Ayckbourn, has really pulled one out of the bag. He has written and directed a new, exclusive, online-only show for us, Anno, Domino. And as an added bonus, he performs it along with his wife, actor Heather Stoney. The couple play 8 characters, ranging in age from 18 to their mid-70s. It's huge fun. They obviously enjoyed making it, and it marks Alan's return to professional acting a mere 56 years after his last on-stage appearance. It's also the first time he's written, directed and acted in the same show. We hope you stay safe and do enjoy the show. Anno Domino, Act 1. Preparations. It's a Saturday evening and it's Sam and Millie's silver wedding anniversary.
Wait there, just a minute.
What's the matter? What is it now?
Oh, forgot my bag.
You've already got a bag.
Oh, this is the wrong bag.
Here we go. Usual handbag crisis. Here we go.
Oh, I need my little evening one. Where the hell did I put it? Hang on, won't be a tick. Sorry.
I forgive you. Seeing it's our anniversary, darling.
Oh, yeah. Happy anniversary, darling. Oh, God, it's here. I put it in here. Why did I put it away in here? I never put it away in here. It doesn't even belong in here. How do you think they'll take it?
What's that?
Your family. How do you think they'll react to our news, to the announcement?
Haven't the faintest idea. How are you doing that?
Hold on, just transferring things, sorry. Oh, I should have done this all ages ago.
Take your time. Are you going to tell them or do you want me to?
Well, they're your bloody family. You can tell them yourself. It was your idea, I would remind you.
Righto. I don't mind.
Okay. Ready to go. Here I come.
Be quite honest, I've no idea how they'll react. We'll see from their faces, won't we, when we tell them?
When you tell them, you mean?
When I tell them, then.
It has to be you, Sam. It was your idea.
Yeah. After you, then, darling.
Thank you, darling. You callous bastard.
Does anyone know if we've got any more of these large glasses anywhere? They've ordered the posh stuff.
Well, that's a good job done. All safe
Oh, where
and
on
snug.
earth have you been?
All my little seedlings tucked up, safe and snug.
Oh, for heaven's sake, Ben, you aren't even
According to
changed.
the Welsh chap on the 6 o'clock, there's a 55% chance of a light frost.
We're going to be
overnight.
most terribly late if you don't get a move
Just
on.
go up and have a wash and brush up. Oh, hello. You off somewhere, are you?
What?
You're all dressed up. Off out, are you?
Of course I am.
Oh, we'll have a good time.
No, I assumed we were both off.
Sorry.
Off out. I thought we were both going.
What?
Well, rather hoped you'd be coming with me.
With you where?
Oh, dear God, Ben, for the 10th time, it's Sam's anniversary. Sam and Millie's. You can't have forgotten already.
Sam?
Yes, Sam. Sam, our eldest seedling. It's Sam and Millie's 25th.
What, tonight? God, that's tonight, is it? Oh, Lord.
I only reminded you at lunchtime.
I'd better get changed then, hadn't I?
Yes, you better had. I've laid things out for you on the bed.
Won't be a tick. I'd no idea that was tonight. If I'd known it was tonight, I'd have started getting ready earlier.
Oh.
Fizzy or still? Or both? Did they say when they booked?
wants to do. First he says he's coming, the next minute he changed his mind. Now it appears he's not coming.
Well, he will just have to leave the lad behind, love. He'll manage.
Well, I called Millie this morning and told him he was definitely coming. Oh, we've nothing to eat in the house at all, have we? I've absolutely nothing in, nothing.
What are you doing, love? What are you looking for?
I'm trying to find something for his supper. Needs to eat something.
Martha, don't get yourself in such a state, love.
If he doesn't eat something, he'll starve to death.
If the lad doesn't want to come with us, he doesn't want to come. Just leave him.
But I can't leave him here all on his own with nothing to eat. I'm not leaving a son of mine to starve to death.
He's 18 years old, love. He can get himself a takeaway if he's hungry.
Oh, yes, and stuff himself with dreadful junk food. I'm not having that. No, we've nothing in the fridge, not a thing. Well, apart from cheese, and he'll never eat cheese.
Well, he's going to have to starve then, isn't he?
Fruit bowl. Now, there might be something in the fruit bowl in the other room. Oh, God. Raymond, darling, keep it down, please. Raymond.
He prefers Raz, love. He doesn't like Raymond. His name's Raz.
No, it's not. His name's Raymond. I christened him Raymond. That's his name. I'm not having a son called Raz. Raymond! Oh, could you sign this card, please? Sam and Millie's card. The pen's there. Raymond!
Oh. Raz! Raz! Keep it down, can you, mate? It's upsetting your mother. Raz!
Is it my imagination or is it very hot in here? Can someone open some windows, please?
Just had a thought, you know. Have we remembered to get them anything? Sam and Millie, some sort of gift. Anniversary present.
Yes, of course I have, as usual.
Thank God for that. Well done, you.
I got them this little silver dish. In that antique shop, the one on the corner. The one which usually never has anything in.
Silver.
Well, obviously silver. I even managed to get it engraved.
Bravo.
With their initials.
A silver dish.
Yes, it's rather sweet. I'm quite pleased with it.
What's it intended for, this dish? What are they going to use it for?
Well, I don't know. It's just a dish. It's not for anything. It's simply a dish. To put things in.
What sort of things?
Well, I don't know. Anything they want. Nuts, possibly.
Nuts.
Oh, I don't know whatever they choose to put in it. Crisps, then.
Crisps.
Turkey Delight, marshmallows. Perhaps nothing at all. Just sit there, empty, looking pretty. Look, are you going to finish getting dressed?
I am dressed.
You're going to go like that, are you? Dressed like that, without your trousers?
God damn it. I have to take these shoes off again, won't I? Took me ages putting the bloody things on as well.
Oh, come on, then come here. Let me help. I'll help you. That's what you're hinting at, isn't it? People would never think you were one stop of the legal profession.
I don't know what the hell it's got to do with anything.
Raymond, please! Darling!
What's that then?
Oh, just some fruit. I chopped up what was left in the fruit bowl in there. At least it's healthy. Keep him going, anyway.
Yes. If he's desperate, I suppose it might.
Raymond! Please! We have the new neighbours banging on our door again. The man was most offensive last time. Terribly rude.
Well, they've got a 6-month-old kitty, love, to be fair.
I bought him those expensive new headphones, but he never uses them, does he? And why does he never use his headphones?
He's probably making a point, love.
Well, he's making life impossible for everyone, isn't he?
That's probably his point.
Well, why would he do that? What will be the point of that?
No point, really. I don't know, love. I wouldn't know. He's your lad. He refuses to speak to me.
Well, either of us. Hasn't spoken a word to either of us for days.
As I say, he's probably missing his dad.
But it's been weeks now since Sefton left us.
The fact is, I think the lad still resents me being here, under the same roof.
sitting in the same chair as his dad probably sat in. I've tried my best, love, I promise.
Oh, I know you have, Craig. I know. Now, have you done their card then? Let's see what you've put.
I just wrote best wishes. Didn't quite know what else to write. I thought of writing something personal like, but I hardly know them, do I? I've barely met Sam at all. Millie only once or twice when she's been round to see you, but not to speak to properly.
Well, you can meet them tonight, can't you? You can meet the whole family. God help you.
Still a bit new on the scene, aren't I? New kid on the block like. Hey, come to think of it, it's our anniversary as well, isn't it?
Is it?
6 weeks to the day since we met. Since you first walked into my life.
Oh, yes. At the garage. For my MOT, wasn't it?
I fixed your starter motor and all.
Very romantic.
Oh, be fair, love. I never charged you for it, did I? I'm sorry, did I?
No, sorry. I'm sorry. Bit of a state, don't know why. It's probably the thought of this evening. Being with all of them, it's silly. I always get into a state at the thought of sitting down with them.
What? Your family, you mean?
Oh, it's stupid. It's just these get-togethers, all of us gathered in the same room. I have these terrible panic attacks. Like claustrophobia almost.
I never knew they had that effect on you.
Well, I can cope with them individually, mostly.
I mean, I never got on specially well with me mad Uncle George. Never that bad.
It's these occasions when we're all gathered together. Oh, don't worry. I'll be all right. Time to go then, is it?
Yeah, time for off. I'll drive, love, don't worry. I'm not planning on drinking. You fit then?
I'll just text Raymond, tell him we've gone and we've left him something.
Leave him a note, love. You can leave him a note.
No, he never reads notes, he only reads texts. I need to tidy myself up as well.
You look fine to me.
I need to comb my hair at least.
Entirely on my own? Oh, great time to phone in sick. Thank you, Julie dear, very much, I'm sure. Saturday night. Thank you so much.
Just thinking, 25 years. Is it really 25 years? It seems like yesterday we were at the wedding. Oh, well, thank God one of the children has made a success of their marriage, that's all I can say. Martha and that depressing poet of hers, and now she's shut up with some wretched garage mechanic.
Handy chap to live with. Far more use than a poet. No, I think after the first 25, the rest is down to sheer stammer after that. You realise from then on you're in for the long haul. All you can do is grit your teeth and stagger on to the finish line.
Oh, I'm so glad that I married a romantic man. You're such a romantic.
Oh, come on, you'd never have coped with a romantic man all these years. You know you wouldn't. You'd have slapped him senseless long ago.
Yes, I probably would have done.
Right, just set the alarm and we're off.
Oh, do you think that's wise, setting the alarm?
Be on the safe side.
No, I meant with Ruggles.
Ruggles?
Well, remember he set it off last time? When we got home, the house was filled with men in large boots stamping all over the place. Did far more damage than burglars would ever have done. All thanks to Ruggles.
He's asleep at the moment, snoring away on the spare bed.
Yes, but the minute he wakes up, he'll start roaming the house looking for us, won't he?
I've said before, if we go out at night, it makes sense to shut him in the cellar. He can't do any harm down there.
Ben, I refuse to lock the poor creature in the cellar. They're so cruel, poor thing. Couldn't bear to think of him all evening alone in the dark. Now I can't bear to think of animals suffering. I never could.
Oh, well, no alarm then. If anyone breaks in, it's down to Ruggles to save the day.
Oh, a lot of good he'd be if he met a burglar.
You'll always fetch things for him. Very good at fetching things, Ruggles. Here, boy, family jewels, go fetch.
Oh, don't. Please, don't.
She always manages to develop a cold on a Saturday. Have you noticed?
Mum? Mum?
Mum? What's this then? Fruit. Thanks a lot, Mum.
This way, Mr. and Mrs. Martin. The room's all ready for you. I believe you're the first. Have a good evening and happy anniversary.
Well, I must say,
Yes,
turn up for the book, that was.
shattering. Quite shattering.
Coming out with it boldly, just like that.
And on their silver wedding anniversary, 25 years. And then for her to simply come up with it like that, just as we were on the verge of toasting them both. Listen, everybody, we think you ought to know before we go any further that Sam and I are splitting up. No warning, no prior notice, nothing. I'm going my way, he's going his. We've done the sex, had the kids, seen them both off the premises. We've had enough. We're sick to death of each other's company, and frankly, there has to be more to life than this. Have I got it right? Is that how she put it?
Sounds pretty accurate. More or less what I heard. Neither of them's even having an affair either, so far as I can gather.
Well, at least that would have been an excuse. If Millie had met some gorgeous hunk in the shrubbery, at least that would have been a valid reason.
The shrubbery?
Well, figure of speech. What possible cause could there be for them to split up?
Boredom, she told me. With each other.
Well, boredom. That's no reason to split up, is it? If every time people grew bored with each other, they split up, there'd be practically nobody left living together, would there? End of the human race. I mean, we all of us get bored now and then. I get unbelievably bored living with you day after day. But I never complain, do I? I never say, I'm off, goodbye. Do I? Yawn, yawn. Well, do I?
No, you've never said that.
No, it's all a complete and utter nonsense. That's all I can say. I mean, I'm sure you must get desperately bored living with me from time to time, don't you?
Well, as you say, you learn to live with it, don't you? Grin and bear it. Stiff upper lip and all that. That's marriage. Comes as part of the package.
Simply splitting up for the sake of it. It's just not...
English,
exactly. No, I blame her. If you want my opinion, I think she's behind all this. Millie's off with someone, she must be. Though why on earth she'd ever consider leaving Sam, of all people? I mean, how could anybody possibly walk out on a man like Sam? Well, I could understand it if it was the other way round. I could understand it if he wanted to leave her. There are probably plenty of sound reasons for him to do that. She must be impossible to live with on occasions. She's quite spiky and sarcastic if she's in the mood. I've always suspected there may be foreign blood somewhere there, you know. Oh, well, that's probably not a terribly fashionable thing to say these days, with foreigners everywhere you look. But no, I don't care. That's not the way we do things in this country. I blame Millie entirely. After all, she made the announcement, didn't she? Quite brazenly and openly, without a scrap of embarrassment. Almost took a delight in it, I felt.
Sam looked a bit sheepish, I thought, whilst he was saying it.
Well, at least he had the good grace to look embarrassed. Had the sensitivity to realise just how upsetting it must be for all of us. But then that's how we brought him up, wasn't it? He was properly brought up, unlike her. We brought him up to be sensitive and empathetic and understanding and...
English?
Exactly.
I hope you took back their present.
What's that?
That silver dish we almost gave them. I hope you took that back. No way they've earned that, is there?
Well, that's another thing. What was she laughing at?
How do you mean?
The moment we arrived, I presented them with our gift, she unwrapped it, and they were both suitably grateful. And then later on, I caught her giggling. Both of them, giggling together.
Giggling?
At the inscription, the one I'd had specially engraved. Well, it was rather more sniggering, I suppose.
Sniggering?
Both of them. I mean, what on earth did they find so funny?
You didn't engrave anything particularly funny, did you?
I certainly did not. I simply put both their initials, S and M, and the date.
S and M.
For Sam and Millie. What did they find so funny in that?
No idea.
I did consider originally putting her initial first as the woman, Millie and Sam. But that would have made M and S, wouldn't it? And that wouldn't have done at all.
M and S.
It could have been misinterpreted that way round, and I didn't want that. After all, it was a genuine antique. It was not cheap.
I didn't imagine it would have been.
I mean, what on earth are they going to do with themselves, both of them, for the rest of their lives? They're still comparatively young, aren't they? Well, under 50 anyway. Now they're both giving up their jobs. Why? Sam's a brilliant architect. Everyone says he is. Completely brilliant. He still has a huge future. And Millie's, well, she's a reasonably successful lawyer, isn't she?
Pretty successful, yes, in her own particular line.
Now he's planning to run away to Italy to paint, for heaven's sake. Why Italy, I ask you, of all places?
Mainly for the light, I understand. From all accounts, they have a particularly good light for painting.
But we have light here, don't we? Have perfectly good light in this country, surely. What's wrong with good old English light? What about Gainsborough or Turner? They never complained, did they? Never heard them complaining about the light. They didn't dash off willy-nilly just like that, did they? And what about her, Millie? Abandoning a perfectly good legal career to write books for children, for heaven's sake. Though I suspect that's just a euphemism for her cozying up with another man.
In the shrubbery.
No, the more I think of it, the more the whole thing makes my blood boil. It really does. I'm sitting here boiling, Ben, simply boiling. Thank God both the grandchildren have safely left home, that's all I can say.
That's probably one of the reasons they split up, you know. Life probably got a bit boring for them without the kids. I know ours got a bit dull once Sam and Martha had finally left.
Well, Sam, certainly. We miss Sam in particular. Most dreadfully. Well, I did. I don't know about you.
I missed both of them once they weren't around. Drove me potty most of the time they were here. Once they'd gone, the place seemed a bit empty.
But we picked ourselves up, didn't we? Found things to do with ourselves, didn't we? I got busy with my charity work, and you had the garden to potter about in. We constructively filled our time. Dining out, occasionally. We even went to the cinema now and then.
Not of late, not to the cinema.
Oh, no, granted, not of late. But there's never anything on, is there, that isn't full of sex or violent explosions?
Incidentally, who on earth was that on the phone first thing? Crack of dawn, Sunday morning? Wrong number, was it?
Oh, that? No, it was Craig.
Craig?
Martha's new husband, darling. Craig. He sounded rather distraught, urgently wanted to talk to me. Oh, Lord, he's coming round in a minute. Thank God you reminded me. He wants to talk to me, apparently. He says he's in need of advice, presumably to do with Martha. God knows what he made of it all, his first encounter with the family, and then all this. He seemed reasonably presentable, I thought.
Oh, yeah. I rather liked her other one, you know, her first one. What's his name?
What, Sefton, you mean? Well, I don't need to tell you my opinion of Sefton, surely.
Yeah, you certainly don't.
A total weed and a wet weekend. Just the sort of spineless person to throw himself off a bridge. Typical. You know my opinion of him, don't you?
Yeah, you've expressed it several times in the past. I don't know what you've got against musicians, especially.
I've nothing against musicians, but I do expect them from time to time to actually pick up their wretched instruments and play something. Not sit on their backside for years on end, never playing a note and writing poetry. No, I'm sorry. I find men like Sefton a complete waste of space. This current one, Craig. I do find Craig rather pleasant. The way I prefer my men, masculine and straightforward. A distinct change for the better, in my opinion, despite the depressingly flat northern vowels. Well, great improvement after Sefton, I must say. Can't think why on earth she married him. They were never suitable. Oh, between these four walls, I suspect he was, as my father put it, somewhat light on his feet, you know.
Well, he was in the arts, wasn't he? Most of them are rather light on their feet. Certainly the ones I defended in court usually were.
Well, we can do without any of that in this family, thank you very much. Mercifully, she's landed herself with a real man at last, with a proper job.
Car mechanic, isn't he?
They met at the garage, apparently. She was having her car seen to.
Romance blooms in peculiar places, eh?
No more peculiar than ours was.
Oh, quite.
A murder trial, wasn't it?
Jimmy the Jacket Jackson. List of dead bodies as long as your arm, that one.
I remember he had this stunningly beautiful girl on his arm, and they'd booked a riverside suite in cash. Absolutely beautiful girl, I recall. Mind you, the moment she opened her mouth, you could tell immediately she had no business staying at the Savoy.
Gave him his alibi, though. The blighter would have gone down for 30 years otherwise.
I never understood how you could bear to defend such people.
Safer to keep them on side, on the whole. Preferable to having both your legs broken in a dark alley, anyway.
Oh, horrible. Oh, don't talk about it. I must get dressed. He's due in a minute.
Give Chris my regards, won't you?
Chris? His name's Craig.
Craig.
You were calling him Chris all evening yesterday. He's your son-in-law, for heaven's sake.
I think I preferred the poet.
Hopeless. Simply hopeless. Never got our own children's names right half the time. Must make some fresh coffee.
Sonny, you out there?
Just a minute, I'm on my break. Are you mad? Completely mad, boy. Just coming.
Mad woman.
Oh, morning, Raymond, darling. Did you sleep all right? We didn't keep you awake, did we? With all our chattering. We were up till the small hours. We didn't disturb you, did we? I saw you slept down here on the sofa. Well, I'm sorry, darling, if we disturbed you. I've hardly slept a wink. My head kept going round and round. Oh, you haven't seen Craig, have you? No, he must have gone out early. I don't know where he's gone. After all that last night, I'll make some tea. Would you like some tea? Shall I make you a nice cup of tea? No? No tea? Breakfast then? Well, you must be starving. You ate practically nothing in the restaurant last night, did you? Hardly touched your pizza. Half an hour late, and then you spent most of the evening on that wretched phone, texting that waitress. Honestly, it's so rude, darling. You hardly said a word to anyone, did you? The whole evening sitting there texting. Well, now, did it upset you what they said last night? Did that upset you? Auntie and Uncle saying they were splitting up? Listen, Raymond, I know the whole world must seem upside down to you at present. Well, it's the same for me, darling. I feel just as confused as you do. People splitting up, coming and going. Nothing seems permanent at the moment, does it? There doesn't seem to be anything safe or solid to hold on to at present. Listen, I want you to know we're here for you, darling. Craig and I, we're here. All right, sweetheart? And if in the future, for some reason, Craig's not here, if for some reason he's no longer here, I want you to know, Raymond, that I'll always be here for as long as you need me. I'll make us some breakfast, shall I? Yes? Scrambled eggs all right? I'll make us both some of my special scrambled eggs, shall I? Some of my specials, as a treat. Are you going to help your granddad in the garden today? You usually do on Sundays, don't you? He always appreciates it, you spending time with him. Little time with his grandson. Do you want 1 egg or 2, darling? 1 egg or... Raymond? Oh dear. Craig, it's me. If you pick this up, this is just to say I'm sorry, darling, for the things I said last night. I didn't mean half the things I said. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sure now just what I did say to you. Probably wasn't even thinking straight. But whatever I said, darling, I didn't mean it. And if I hurt you, I didn't mean to hurt you. I really didn't. And I'm so sorry. And I really do love you. And come home soon, please. I'm sorry. Ruggles! Ruggles, quietly now. Be quiet, boy. Ruggles! That is quite enough. Ruggles! Stupid dog. Just coming. Coming! Ruggles! Will you please be quiet at once? It's all right. He's perfectly harmless. All bark and no bite. I'm so sorry. Were you ringing for ages?
No, only just got here. I'm sorry for the short notice. Thank you for seeing me.
I was right at the other end of the garden taking Ben his coffee, and from there one never hears it. Would you care for some? I just this minute made some fresh. Would you care for a cup?
Oh, I don't mind if I do, thank you. Just been admiring your Rover just now.
I'm sorry?
Your car, the Rover.
Oh, yes, dreadful old thing. We've had it for simply ages.
P5 coupe, if I'm not mistaken. Saw its nose sticking out your garage.
Yes, we can never quite close the wretched up and over. It's far too long for that garage. We've been meaning to trade it in for something smaller for ages now, but my husband's devoted to it.
Worth a few bob now. Collector's item, that.
Really? Oh, do sit down, please.
Thanks. If you're planning to get shot of it, I could probably find a buyer for you.
Now you take it black, do you?
Just a drop of milk, thank you. I mean, all above board, mind.
Sugar?
Just the one, thank you. I mean, he'd give you a fair price.
I'm afraid my husband's in the garden, taking advantage of this temporary gap in the clouds. It's been simply dreadful, the weather lately, hasn't it? So disappointing. I mean, all this talk of global warming, we certainly haven't felt the benefit in West Sussex, have we?
Well, I think there's probably more to it than that, you know. I mean, it's the Gulf Stream, isn't it? It's being diverted by the gradually melting of the Arctic ice cap, you see. Now, very much. And that, in turn, causes a shift, like, in the overall ocean temperatures, you see.
Terrible, yes.
So,
dreadful.
technically speaking, although we refer to it as global warming, because of this warming, everything's like melting.
Oh, dear.
And starting to cool things down, you see. So, in one sense, it's global cooling.
Yes, I see. It's dreadfully worrying, isn't it? Fortunately, neither of us will be around to witness it, so we can count ourselves lucky in that respect, can't we?
No, but for future generations, you know.
Oh, yes. They're the ones who need to worry, don't they? It's people like my grandson, Raymond. They're the ones who are going to be in the firing line, poor things, when it boils down to it.
Yeah, literally like.
Now, how can I help you, Craig? It did all sound rather urgent on the phone.
I'm sorry for the short notice.
A problem, you said. With Martha, of course. I presume it's to do with Martha.
Well, last night, you know, She took it particularly hard like.
You think we were all flabbergasted, Craig. What on earth were they both thinking, Sam and Minnie? Such bizarre behaviour. And frankly, so uncharacteristic. They were always such a sensible pair, we felt, so adult and responsible. I mean, of our two children, Sam was always the responsible one, the one with his feet on the ground, so to speak, the one you always felt you could call on in an emergency.
Right.
I can tell you, it's pulled the rug from under us all, Craig.
Certainly has with Martha. Last night when we got home, she was in a shocking state.
I mean, of our two children, frankly, Martha was always the one we feared might go haywire and off the rails. And indeed, we were proved perfectly correct. I mean, her first marriage was a complete traffic accident. She ran away from home the moment she could, without a word to either of us, and promptly married the first Tom, Dick or Harry she could lay her hands on. Disastrous, completely disastrous.
So we understand, yeah. Tragic, him jumping off a rail bridge. He must have been desperate.
Hardly as desperate as the dozens of those poor commuters that he inconvenienced. Right in the middle of the rush hour. I mean, he made literally hundreds of people late for work. Hard-working business people, completely thoughtless. Typical of a poet.
That's one way of looking at it, certainly.
Anyway, now she's found you, so it's happy ever after, isn't it? I can't tell you how delighted we are, Craig. We're both so thrilled. You're like a gift from heaven, a gift from heaven.
Thanks very much. Only I could convince her of that.
She's still unhappy, you say?
Terrible. With last night's announcement, 1 minute shouting and screaming, almost as if she held me responsible like for them breaking up. The next minute crying her eyes out like it were the end of the world. The end of us as well. The end of everything.
Oh dear. She cried all the time as a baby as well, which is unusual for a girl. It's generally boys, they say. But her brother never cried at nights, never once. Always as good as gold. What did our grandson make of it all, I wonder?
Oh, I think he slept through it. The minute he came in, fell asleep on the sofa.
Well, he was certainly having a high old time at the restaurant, wasn't he? He and the waitress seemed to be thoroughly enjoying themselves. Probably the only ones that were. I must say, he could have used his influence to get us a little better service. The girl only had half her mind on her job. She was so busy ogling and texting.
She was the trainee under manager, so she told me.
Really? You amaze me. But then practically anyone can call themselves a manager, can't they? Managers everywhere these days, but very few of them, when it comes down to it, can actually manage to cope.
Yes. Getting back to Martha, though, for a second, I really don't know what to do for the best, like, if you follow me. I'm not even sure if she wants shot at me, quite truthfully. I only want what's best for her. I mean, I'll go. I don't want to go, but if that's what's best, then I'm perfectly willing to go. Leave her alone, like, so as not to crowd her. Give her back her space. I'm not quite sure of the right course of action. And I'm thinking, you being her parents, like, you might be able to give me a steer, put me straight. I mean, flesh and blood and that. And with me being a newcomer to the scene, I mean, she's complicated, isn't she? Like, at that dinner last night, she were a different person. I hardly recognised her. She even spoke different and all. I mean, if you want the truth, I'm worried I might lose her. I'm really scared of losing her. I'd never want to lose her. Quite frankly, I'm a bit out of my depth, if I'm honest, in over my head. I thought maybe you could have a quiet word with her, maybe, and reassure her.
Well, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but I just have to say, I've totally fallen in love with your accent, Craig. I really have. I take it you're from up north.
Oh, yeah, Yorkshire. West Yorkshire.
Heavenly.
Eckman-Wyke.
I'm sorry?
Eckman-Wyke.
Really? How fascinating.
Near Leeds.
No, I'm afraid you've lost me, Craig. I'm simply hopeless with anywhere north of the Wash. It all blurs into one after that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, I'm not so good with Sussex, come to that. Getting back to my problem with Martha, though.
Yes, she was always the problem child. Never really sure what she wanted to do with her life.
She's a nursery school teacher, isn't she? Very dedicated.
Well, finger paints and plasticine is hardly what one would term a proper profession, is it? Unlike her brother Sam, of course, who knew right from the off exactly what he wanted to do. I want to be an architect, Mummy. I want to make big, tall houses for people to live in. Right from this early age, with his little colouring book and crayons. Oh, he was a child prodigy in a way, Craig.
I'm sure. He seemed clever, like.
Brilliant.
Yes, getting back to Martha for
Oh.
a moment.
Martha worshipped Sam, simply worshipped him. As a child, she followed him round like a puppy. As a result, I'm afraid she rather grew up in his shadow. She got a little overlooked. But that's always been the way, hasn't it? We poor girls never get a proper look in, did we, back then? Or unless things might be somewhat different these days.
Yeah, just a bit.
I'm sure it's all for the best, but... oh, I don't know. I think it's all becoming rather strident and hysterical, don't you feel? I think a lot of girls these days, quite honestly, with all this shouting and screaming, they're in danger of losing their dignity as women, rather, don't you feel?
Oh, I'm only a bloke. Don't get me involved with all that.
How sensible, Craig, how sensible.
Good luck to them, I say. When I was a kid, we never had any problem with that in our house, any road. My mum was always the one to settle things. The last word, like. Casting votes she had.
Oh, yes, that's how things are up there, aren't they? In your neck of the woods. Women wear the trousers, eh?
Ah, both legs and all.
Mind you, if truth be told, it's much the same here in the south. Only we usually choose to hide them under a pretty skirt.
Yes, I've noticed. Getting back to Martha for a second, I feel I need to get to know her better, you see. I mean, I feel after last night, she might just be drifting away from me, like. I appreciate a woman's got to have a bit of mystery, like.
Oh, quite, she
As
does.
a bloke, I respect a woman's got to have a mystery. Part of her nature, isn't it, a mystery? But then there's mystery, and then there's downright bloody incomprehensive.
More coffee? Can I top you up at all?
No, thank you.
I think I will, if you don't mind. I'll tell you a little story about Martha Craig, shall I? To illustrate how much she adored her brother. We were all on a holiday together, the family, somewhere on the south coast it was, Bournemouth possibly. It was usually Bournemouth. I remember it was just before Sam's 7th birthday, so Martha couldn't have been more than 6, and quite spontaneously, completely off her own bat, she went for a walk all on her own along the beach, gathering seashells. All these tiny coloured seashells, you know.
Oh, yeah, I did that as a kid, inbred.
And, unbeknownst to any of us, with her pocket money, she'd bought this cheap little plastic pencil case from one of those novelty shops, you know. Then she shut herself in her bedroom and she carefully glued all these little shells on the outside of the pencil case to decorate it. She was only tiny, and so it must have taken her hours and hours.
Ah, that's nice.
And then she wrapped it up in some pretty paper and gave it to Sam for his birthday. And Craig, it was done with such effort and with such love and kindness. And I recall that was the first time my heart truly warmed to that plain, undemonstrative little girl.
I bet Sam was touched by that one.
Oh, indeed he was. He was so moved to think his little sister had gone to all that trouble just for him. I mean, to be brutally frank, the thing was simply hideous and the shells were constantly falling off, so that whenever you touched the thing, your hands were covered in sticky glue. But it was the thought, Craig. It was the thought, you see.
The thought that counts, yes.
Yeah. She was never good with her hands, poor thing. All fingers and thumbs, totally impractical. Unlike her brother, of course. How's her cooking these days? Has it improved at all?
Oh, yeah, she's... No, she's getting a lot... No, she's really not a daughter. No, she's not that good, to be honest. Not really. Dreadful.
Oh dear, I'm sorry to hear that.
Not that she doesn't try. I mean, you know, she tries. She really does try her best.
We certainly can't fault her for trying, can we?
Look, I mustn't keep you any longer. I ought to be getting back to her, you know, in case she needs me, like.
I do hope I've been of some help, Craig.
Oh, yeah, you've been very helpful. Thank you very much. I think I understand a lot more about her now than I did. Thank you.
I promise I'll arrange to have a little chat with her over the next few days. Try and talk a little sense into her.
I've not mentioned to her, by the way, about me coming to see you. I didn't want her to think I was going behind her back like or anything like that.
Oh, no, I promise not to mention it. Do let me show you out.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thanks for the coffee. Very nice.
It's lovely to talk to you, Craig, get to know you a little better. Ben will be so sorry he lost you. Oh, do stop that at once, you stupid dog. Don't hit him, Craig. Simply ignore him. He's just showing off. Ruggles! Stop that. Dear God, where does she find them? Where on earth does the girl find them?
Has he gone?
Just. Was that you lurking?
What?
Lurking out there. I thought I saw you lurking just now.
Oh, yeah, that was probably me.
Well, I do hope it was. Oh, you really are impossible, you know, Ben. You were never good with people, were you? But you're getting steadily worse. And at this rate, you're going to end up a complete hermit.
What did he want? Did I miss anything exciting?
I'd hardly call it exciting. I found him a shade disappointing, really.
Disappointing, huh?
Oh, up close, as it were. I'm afraid he's one of those dubious new men.
Oh, one of those, is he? I suspected he probably was from talking to him last night. Kept going on about recycling. I thought for a minute he was talking about exercise bikes.
These so-called new men always come over to me as rather flaccid, you know, like wet Dalmatians, all tail-wagging and whimpering, desperately eager to please, wanting you to throw them sticks. Like Ruggles as a puppy before he got arthritis, poor old thing. No, I think on the whole I prefer the old-style male, like you. Insensitive and inconsiderate, but at least I know where I am with you.
What did he want?
What else? Martha problems. What else?
Oh, good God, not again.
She's taking the break-up rather badly, apparently. And being Martha, she's taking it personally, as she tends to do with everything in her life. I've never known anyone who can take things quite as personally as Martha, right down to the state of the weather. Absolutely everything has to revolve around her. Totally self-centred, isn't she? I don't know which one of us she gets that from. I really don't. I mean, you're not especially self-centred, are you?
Who, me? I don't think I am, not especially.
No, you're not at all.
I occasionally show a passing interest in myself, but no more than most people.
I'm certainly not. The one thing you could never call me is self-centred, could you? No, you most certainly could not. Now, don't you have your little helper here today to assist you in the garden, your grandson? He usually comes on a Sunday, doesn't he?
I don't think he's coming, not today. Law unto himself is Raymond. Beg his pardon, Raz. He prefers to be called him Raz these days, apparently. Sometimes he comes, sometimes he doesn't. Works to his own strange inner timetable.
Raz. It's so discordant. He's a weird boy altogether.
I won't call him weird. Not weird, exactly. Just not very communicative. And that was the same with Martha, wasn't it? Kept everything bottled up inside. Hardly spoke at all some days, did she?
I can tell you there were occasions when I wanted to shake that child. Shake her till her teeth rattled. Infuriating girl.
I think you did sometimes.
What?
Shook her. I seem to remember you shook her once or twice.
I never shook her.
I think you did, you know.
No, I would never have shaken her. That's not in my nature. You're imagining things. Now, don't you dare start spreading rumours, Ben, that I maltreated my daughter, because that simply isn't true. I never once shook Martha.
Did lock her in the cellar a couple of times, that's certainly true.
Well, that was for disobedience. That was our rule, wasn't it? Disobey 3 times in a row and it's into the cellar with you. That was always the fixed penalty for disobedience.
You never locked Sam in the cellar there, did you?
Well, Sam was never disobedient. He always did exactly what he was told.
Apparently. Well, then he could always charm the birds out of your tree, couldn't he?
Yes, you always took Martha's side, didn't you? Invariably.
Somebody had to.
I've agreed to have a chat with her anyway. I can do no more. I don't know why in the world she gets herself into these states. I really don't. If it's not one thing with her, it's another. What's the matter with her? What on earth's the matter with the
come
woman?
on, simmer down.
No, we're not having this conversation again. I refuse to. We've had the same wretched, futile conversation about that child I don't know how many times. Round and round and round till we're blue in the face. Enough is enough, Ben. Just thinking of her throwing away her life when you think what she started out with, the start in life we gave her, the sacrifices we made. Everything. She had everything. Oh, it makes me so angry, Ben. When you think of children with half her advantages, half the opportunities that girl had. He never told me, you know, Sam. He never even warned me they were planning to separate. He could at least have told me, confided in me. I'm his mother. It was so hurtful, not telling me. Her coldly announcing it like that to the whole table, to the whole restaurant. It was so unfeeling, so cruel of him. I'm going to rinse these things through now, and then I'll make us a snack.
You know, I was thinning out the lettuces just now, and I had this thought. You know, I think they may have had a point, Sam and Millie. They may have had a point.
Oh, nonsense. What possible point could they have?
No, listen. Last night Millie said something to me later on, and it struck in my mind, you know. She said, "We've simply run out of things to talk about, Ben. We've nothing further of interest to say to each other. The novelty's worn off. We've both grown sick and tired of each other."
What, with Sam? How could she possibly have grown tired of Sam? There's obviously something wrong with the woman.
She said she wanted her life back. Both kids at university, one at Belfast, one at Dundee, couldn't have got further away if they'd tried. She felt it was time for her and Sam to do the same.
What exactly is the point of all this, Ben? What are you trying to tell me?
What I'm trying to tell you, in so many words, Ella, is don't you feel it might be time for us to do likewise?
What do you mean? Are you talking about us separating?
Yes,
At our age?
it's as good an age as any.
What, both on our own?
Why not?
Well, you'd never manage on your own, not for 5 minutes.
I could manage.
You can't even remember to put your trousers on.
What the hell, if I'm on my own, I can wander around in my wife fronts, can't I?
Well, what about cooking, cleaning,
We've
washing?
got staff for that, haven't we? Thank God we've done well enough between us. We've worked bloody hard for it. We're lucky enough to afford staff to look after us, aren't we?
I don't know how many of them we'll manage to keep if you're continually wandering round in your wife fronts.
We? What's this we? You won't be here.
Where will I be?
You'll be elsewhere, won't you?
Elsewhere?
That's the point.
And where will I be exactly?
I thought you could take advantage of the situation to go on one of those world cruises you're always going on about. The ones I never wanted to go on. The ones I wouldn't be seen dead on. Those cruises.
On my own? Entirely on my own?
You wouldn't be on your own. Those boats are bursting with jolly old folk, all desperate for a chat, hungry for a bit of friendship, most of whom have recently got rid of their wretched husbands one way or another.
A boat full of lonely middle-aged women sounds a complete nightmare.
Go on, you'd love every minute of it, you know you would.
How long would this cruise go on for? You can't cruise indefinitely, you know. Once you've been round the world once...
You pays your money and you goes round again, why not?
Ridiculous. What about you? What will you be doing while I'm circling the globe, like the Flying Dutchwoman?
I said, I'll be here, pottering round, with or without trousers as the mood takes me. Spot of gardening, spot of reading, eating, drinking in moderation, listening to a spot of this decent music, sleeping.
All on your own as well?
Utter bliss.
Oh, this is just an excuse to get rid of me, isn't it?
It's also an excuse for you to get rid of me.
No, it's never work. I'd worry about you terribly. I'd never sleep a wink tossing and turning in my bunk thinking of you all alone, thousands of miles away. You never cope on your own. What if you fell over, for instance?
Well, there are plenty of people here to pick me up. Come on, what's the worst that could happen? I'd drop dead on the compost heap, or you'd accidentally fall overboard. Worth a thought, anyway.
Well, I'd need to think about it. I must rinse these through. How about you? Are you ready for a sandwich or lunchtime sandwich?
That'd be grand.
Sit there. I'll make you one.
Hang on, I'll do it. I'll do it myself.
You?
Better get into practice, hadn't I? Just in case.
Yes, I'll need to think about it. What? I don't know. I really don't know. I just don't know anything. Nothing's making any sense at all anymore. Nothing. Oh, dear God, what on earth's he doing? Ben, you don't know where anything is. Leave it. Now, don't touch a thing. Leave it. Just leave things exactly where they are. Ben.
He's crazy. Oh, you're totally mad. Mad, mad, mad.
Stoney, can you come, please?
Coming. Just coming.
Hello, it's Paul Robinson here again. I really hope you're enjoying Anno Domino. As you probably know, these are tough times for all theatres, and if you are enjoying the show and feel you'd like to donate to help ensure a bright future for the Stephen Joseph Theatre, please go to the donate button on this page. It's quick, easy, and above all, secure. Thank you.